Hey everyone, just wanted to remind you all to take a moment to like the video, leave a comment. It really does help us out with the algorithm. If you'd like to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification, which will give you updates on when new content is posted. If you want to support the site, you could check out our Patreon. You'll get access to exclusive content, access to the Discord, and much more. And now, back to the video. Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of my new interview series where we interview amateur fighters from, well, starting from New York, but we'll see how far we can go. I am Ben Cohn, the head of the grappling department for the Fight Site, and with me today I have the pleasure and the privilege of having my teammate. I get the privilege of calling him that. He is 23 years old, fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, in Brooklyn MMA. He's 7-3. He's on a 5-fight win streak, which started only about 7 or 8 months ago, by the way. In 8 months, he's got 5 wins, 2 title belts that you can see sitting pretty right behind him, the ISKA belt and the ECF belt. The ISKA belt he won in Flex Fight Series. Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Phelan. You don't even have a nickname, by the way. I just realized.
Nah, I'm too basic for all that extra stuff. Keep it basic.
Well, one thing I do know is that your abilities are not basic. You're one of my favorite people to train with, despite the fact that I have a 400-pound weight advantage over you. You always fucking took it to me every single time. You would whoop my ass on the feet. Jesus Christ. So we got to start from the beginning, though. Obviously, we could fuck around the whole time, but I want to give you a chance to tell your story, because nobody talks to amateurs until they get famous. So I want to hear about it from the beginning and where you're at now, so we can follow your progress.
I started off when I was 12. At first, it was kind of like just to learn how to defend myself. I didn't really see myself having a future. It was kind of like just self-defense, learning how to defend myself. Typical story like everybody else. I wasn't popular. I got bullied when I was young. I was a little chubby. But as time went on, I fell in love with the sport. I got into wrestling when I was in high school. It gave me a little edge, because you know how wrestling goes in high school. It's a very gritty sport. And when I came back after I graduated, I just took MMA to a different level. After my first fight, I fell in love with it, and I just kept going, and I never stopped. So, yeah.
So, you mentioned you started at 12 and you started wrestling in high school, and it's interesting because you basically live in Brooklyn MMA.
Yes,
you do more than that as a fighter. It's a little bit more personal to you. Talk to us more about that, because that's something that it's not so common a lot of the time. People want to fight, they go to a gym, they pick a gym for whatever reason, and that's it. Yours is a little bit different.
Yeah. I live around the corner from the gym. And like you just said, I live there. I work there. I teach a little kids class. I do all ages, kids, teens, adults. I open up, I close up. I'm literally here every day of my life. And for me, it's like, my dad always told me, like, you shouldn't live the rest of your life doing something you have to do something that you want to do. And this is something I want to do. I don't want to be working at no store, working at McDonald's, working in an office. I want to live the rest of my life doing MMA, teaching people how to fight. Anything that revolves around MMA, I can do this until I die. I love this shit too much. So yeah.
It's great to see that. Like, we oftentimes kind of like become jaded as fans, and most fans don't really get to see it on the inside. It's like they're watching it only from the TV, through YouTube, through whatever it is, and on social media. It's different when you're there, and there is that special connection that people do have to this fan. And there are people who really do love the sport, and just being a part of it. So, speaking of which, like you said, you teach kids classes. You also teach teens classes as well, and I've seen you teach adults as well. You know what you're doing. What do you think it benefits your fighting significantly? Not so much, a little bit. What kind of benefits do you get from teaching so much and spending so much time on the mats, making sure that you're giving over what you know to other people and at different ages?
Well, passing it on to the youth, it's good to show the kids what I do, and to be able for them to see that I actually do it for a living and that I'm successful with it. It gives them confidence as well that they can do whatever they want. And even with that, teaching them helps me kind of critique what I need to work on sometimes. Like, I'll be working certain jiu-jitsu moves with them and boxing moves, And it gives me ideas like, oh, I can build on from that. I can do this with that, you know? So teaching them also helps me as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Now let's actually get to your style and your fighting capabilities and what you do. First, what made you kind of gravitate towards the style that you currently have, and how? First of all, how would you describe your style personally, and what made you gravitate towards it? Because you are a wrestler, but you do enjoy boxing.
Yeah,
Anybody who watches your fights knows that. So let's yeah, I want to hear more about that.
So yeah, like when I first learned how to fight, I was like my first couple fights. If you look at my like first 2-3 amateur fights, a lot of wrestling because you know I wrestled all throughout high school. I didn't do any college wrestling. It was only high school, so I didn't get high level wrestling. But like I fell in love with the sport. I love shooting double legs. I love grappling. And yeah, once I started getting into MMA and learning how to box and a lot of striking, I fell in love with boxing. And a lot of people tell me I'm a better boxer than I am a wrestler. And it's weird because wrestling was my whole life at one point. But as I learned how to do MMA, I don't know. I guess I had a talent in boxing I never knew I had. My style, I think I'm like a boxer and a wrestler. Like if I have to wrestle, I'll wrestle you. But at heart, I want to box. Like I want to piece you up. I want to get my combos in. I love boxing. I'm more of a counter striker. I like to defend. I like to make people miss. I like to counter a lot. So yeah, I'm a boxer and a wrestler. But people like to consider me more of a boxer than my wrestling. Wrestling's more of like my defense. Like if I'm getting in trouble, the guy's teeing off, I'll go for a shot. But ideally, I want to box. Always.
And it's interesting because you happen to have won both of your titles using both of those things, right?
Exactly.
And both of them you utilized both ends of that to win both of your titles. So before we get into that, what's your when we're talking about your training situation, like we have some really good guys come in with former pros as both your instructors, and I think all of the pros who teach in the gym have amateur belts under their own. So you have a really good training situation. So where do you what do you primarily focus on when you're at the gym? How much sparring do you do compared to drilling and technique when you're actually working?
Well, I try to get as much live drills as I can because as an MMA fighter, like technique is good to perfect your technique, but like if you really want to improve when it comes in a cage, you gotta do a lot of live grappling, a lot of live jiu-jitsu, a lot of live sparring. So I spar as much as I can after training, during training, it don't matter to me. And you know, like you said, I have a lot of good training partners here. We have Aldo, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's been training me since I first came here. We got a bunch of little Russian, Tajik pro fighters. 2 of them were in Bellator. One of them is an amazing Taekwondo kickboxer. Everybody knows Super Crop will knock you out with a spin kick, no problem. Nakruz will suplex you on your freaking neck. And just to have those guys to work with all the time, it builds up my confidence a lot. There's a lot of pro guys I get to work with. And almost all of them are at my weight class. Like I'm probably the smallest fighter in the gym. I fight at 135. A lot of them are like 170, 160. So to have those heavy guys to work with all the time, I feel like I have the biggest advantage when I get in that cage. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I've rolled a bunch of them. it's not normal. Nakruz is freakishly good. Like his top control is unreal. And he floats so well. Okay, we gotta focus on you. Focus on you. All right, so let's talk about your titles. All right, first of all, I want to actually back that up. I want to talk about your losses, like because there was a bit of a skid. You're kind of going through a rough patch. Talk to me about that. I know we've talked about it, but talk to us about that. And your mindset and how you kind of went from like that 3-fight skid, and then you took it to 100 all at once. A 5-fight win streak starting December of 2021, I think, right? And through less than 8 months. 8 months. And you got 5 fights straight and 2 belts. So, and we're going to talk about your next fight. So talk to us about that. Take us through that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. Like my first 2 fights I won and it was good. And it's like, I feel like when you first start fighting and you win, like you always think I'm never going to lose. I don't want to lose. I want to stay undefeated. And what I learned from my first loss is winning is the best thing that can ever happen to you. When you win, you don't really get anything out of it. Like you win, you dominate. That means you did everything you were supposed to do in training. And, you feel like there's nothing you really need to work on. But when you lose, it kind of humbles you. It shows you what you need to do, what you weren't working on, what you could have done better. And, a lot of people, they take an L and they don't want to do it no more. Like, MMA is my life, bro. I will do this until I die. So when I lost, I wanted more. I lost 3 times in a row. So my first loss, people say I got robbed. The whole crowd was booing. We went to decision, and yeah, I lost, but I don't like to put it on other people. You know, there was a lot of things I could have worked on. I could have been more aggressive. I could have been more active. I slammed him a couple times, but he got right back up. So obviously it was a close fight, but you know, there's things I need to work on. My second loss, another decision fight. He beat me in a decision. I was doing good in the first round, but the second and third, I slowed down a little bit. And you know, I can't blame other people. You know, it was on me. Obviously, there's a lot of things I need to work on. My third fight that I lost, it was a clear cut. Like, he beat me. He got on top of me on mount. He ground and pounded me. I could not get up. After that, it hit me. Like, after that, I was in the gym every day, grinding, doing jiu-jitsu 24/7. Because the way I lost was the grappling, the jiu-jitsu. They were getting on top of me. I was struggling with my defense and not being active on the ground. So that made me want to grind even more. I came to training every single day. I was asking people to get extra work in the morning, at night, because I want this. Like, you know, after the first one, it's like, okay, maybe I got this. The second one is like, maybe this is not for me. The third one, the way I lost, anyone would have said, fuck this, this isn't for me. But this is my life, bro. I could have lost 5 times in a row and I still be in there, keep fighting. So losing made me better. It made me want to work more, to grind more, to get better more. So I always tell people losing is the best thing that could ever happen to you. Never be afraid to lose, bro. Because after that, I went on a tear. So yeah.
Let's talk about that tear, because I've been there the entire tear. So let's talk about it. You know, let's go. Let's walk us through it. I saw you started working much harder in the gym. You started putting in a lot more effort and time and hours.
Yeah, so,
let me hear about this, because I was there from my point of view, but I want to see, I want to hear from your point of view.
So my last fight, I lost in mount, and after that fight, jiu-jitsu was all about escaping from bottom. Mount escapes, a lot of grappling. So I was obsessed. I went to every jiu-jitsu class. I was getting in tournaments. I was doing whatever I could to get better at jiu-jitsu. Next thing you know, I walk into class and Aldo puts a blue belt on my fucking waist. I've been doing jiu-jitsu since I was 12 years old. I'm not going to lie, when I first started, I hated jiu-jitsu because I wasn't that good. But, you know, when you want, you keep working at it. And I came every single day. I came to jiu-jitsu every single day. I would roll with everybody. I didn't care if you were a purple belt, a brown belt, a black belt. I'll roll with everybody. You can tap me out 10 times. I'm going to keep rolling with you. One thing I think my biggest attribute is like, you're not going to slow me down. I will go forever. I will go until you throw up. I'm not going to stop moving. Even if I'm gassed out, I'm going to keep moving. So, yeah, I got my blue belt, and I just felt confident. Like, my jiu-jitsu was way better. I was more confident in my grappling. And then my first comeback fight was against this guy named Hamlet. He was Georgian, and everybody knows how Georgians are. They're very aggressive. They're very gritty. They're very strong. He was heavy on his wrestling, and he was a power puncher. He wanted to just throw haymakers and get to the doubles and singles. And honestly, the whole game plan for the fight was to stop the takedowns and work your striking. That was the game plan. Stop his takedowns, strike. The fight starts. I'm working my striking. He was throwing haymakers. My microphone was a little hesitant. I was backing up. I didn't want to get caught with anything. And I remember he went for a takedown. And I remember I was able to sweep him. I'm like, yo, this dude wrestling sucks. My grappling is better than his. And that's when all the training kicked in. And I realized in my brain, like, I don't need to avoid the wrestling. I can wrestle this guy. I sprawled every takedown. I took him down. And I was on top. I was working him with the striking. I was working him. And this is where the dice starts rolling. This is when I was feeling it. And after that,
slammed his ass through the mat. Slammed his ass through the mat.
Picked him up.
You went full fucking Matt Hughes. He picked him up, walked his ass across the cage to our coach's corner, and slammed him right in front of him.
Coach fucking Terry from MMA always tells me, if you get the double, pick him up and walk him to the corner. I picked that dude up from the cage, walked him all the way to the other side, and I slammed him. If you guys look at any of my amateur fights, I've slammed everybody. I picked them up and I walked them across the mat every time, bro. And yeah, you know, it's crazy. There was one point in the fight where he had me in mount and I escaped no problem, because that just shows I was drilling it 24/7, mount escapes every second of the day. He put me in mount. I got out no problem, got back up, worked against the cage, picked him up, slammed him on his fucking noggin. And yeah, after that, I just went on a tear. I got a couple finishes in the first round, clipped 2 guys, 1-2, finished them real quick in the first round. And then finally time for me to get a title fight. Now, the title fight with the dude I fought, he was very good. His whole game was jiu-jitsu. A lot of the guys he beat was by submissions. he doesn't really have good striking. He was just wanted to grab you, take you down, tap you out. So for that camp, we just worked a lot of grappling. And when it started, it was beautiful. Like I was out striking him because I have a heavy boxing game. I was touching him up on the feet. He was afraid to box with me, and he went for the takedown, stopped his takedown, and I just kept working ground and pound. And the first round was perfect. I completely dominated him. Then the second round came, and he managed to take me down. He got his hooks and he had me on my belly with a rear naked choke, deep, arms locked up, legs wrapped. I'm on my belly. And all I could think about was I put all this work in. I'm not going to let this shit end with them raising his hand. I could not live with that. And I feel like anyone else in that situation would have just tapped out. Like, fuck it, he got me. Let me just tap out. But I worked too hard to fucking lose, bro. I was ready for him to just choke me till I couldn't breathe no more. So I held my breath and I was fighting until I could get out. And I guess he felt like he couldn't tap me, so he gave me a little space. I was able to turn my hips, turn into him, and I escaped. He got me in a triangle. Right after that, I rolled out, got on top, and then after that, I completely dominated him. And then I became ISKA Bantamweight Champion. And that's honestly one of my favorite fights because that was the first fight where I really went through adversity. Like, he almost had me, and anyone else would have tapped, but I didn't because I wanted it more. I remember I kept telling people before the fight, I wanted more than he do. I work more than he does. Nobody wants this shit more than I did. And I knew coming into the fight, wanting it that bad, that he wasn't going to stop me no matter what he did to me because I had to earn it. So I love this bout a lot because that one was probably one of my hardest fights. The second fight, so right after I won that bout, I won more gold. So I went for another bout. I was supposed to fight someone on a striking one-on-one who was very gritty, very tough. He had really good kickboxing. He's very aggressive. Unfortunately, something happened. He backed out. Honestly, I think he was just scared, but he backed out, whatever. So they gave me a replacement. I fought some kickboxer. I'm not going to lie. He was very strong up top. He was very strong. He was very aggressive. We standed up top for a little bit. He caught me with a punch, and I was like, fuck no, I'm going for the takedown. Now, like I said, I don't like to wrestle. I'm like Justin Gaethje. I want to bang. I want to box. But again, it's MMA. All you need is one punch to knock somebody out. You get caught in the wrong situation, it's done. So the moment I felt him land a punch, I went straight for the takedown. I took him down. I went on top. I started raining punches. And a lot of my fights went to decision. And all I thought is, I'm going to keep punches until the referee tells me to stop. Because I did not want to win by decision. I wanted to finish. So I just rained punches down until the referee pulled me off. And then I became a double champ. And yeah.
But we got one more thing to discuss. It's your next fight, which is going to be for
Yes, sir.
CFFC, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be August
Yes,
26th. Sir. So August 26th, we're going to catch you at CFFC, and it's going to be for their bantamweight belt, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Ooh,
yeah.
So you're going to be the triple C of the New York amateur MMA scene. Sir. Oh, yeah. That sounds pretty nice. I'm not going to lie. Talk to us about that fight.
I'm really excited.
Talk to us about the opponent. Do you know the opponent yet?
Yes, I do. He's very heavy on the wrestling. I'm not gonna lie. I think his wrestling's. I feel like we kind of match with the wrestling, but he really depends on his wrestling. Like, he's heavy on. He just wants to. He wants to grab you. He wants to be real gritty. He wants to smother you. He's kind of like Khabib, but not Khabib. Like America. He's like Chael Sonnen. He's gonna throw punches to get the takedown. And I feel like this is a really good fight for him. He's not afraid to bang, and he's gonna try to take me down. And honestly, the way I look at it, he's a one-trick pony. If I can stop his takedowns and I can sprawl and bang, he really has nothing else. I feel like my striking is better than his. And if I'm able to stop his takedowns and I can tire him out and work my striking, then I can definitely win this. But I respect him a lot. He's a very tough fighter. He's an amazing wrestler. He ain't afraid to bang. So I want this. And CFFC, it's on UFC Fight Pass. If I win this fight and I get the belt, it'll be a lot of people will be looking at me. And I fought at CFFC before. I lost, and I really want to redeem myself under those lights. So I'm really excited for this fight. And I'm really big on, I don't want easy fights. I want to make it to the top. And if you want to make it to the top, you got to fight the best. And he's good. So that's why I want it. I want people to work me. I want to have those crazy fights. And I want to show people that I can go through adversity just like I did with this one and win, because I want it more than anything. So he's perfect for me. I want it more than anything. So, yeah.
Stephen Phelan, before we go, tell everyone where they can find you. Instagram, Facebook, where should people follow you?
If you guys want to follow me, I'm pretty basic. I don't have those stupid names like everybody else does. It's Steven.BKMMA. BKMMA is the gym I train at. Steven's my first name. Steven.BKMMA. And yeah, all my other information is on my Instagram. So yeah, give me a follow and watch my shit up. My whole page is full of my training, my boxing, my grappling, my jiu-jitsu, and maybe a couple selfies with my shirt off for the ladies. But yeah, you guys know where to find me.
Stephen Phelan, it's always a pleasure. I hope to be able to see you in person again real soon. I got to stop in one of these days.
Yes,
You
sir.
can give me a congratulations for the new kid in person.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure that you check us out at thefightside.com, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and make sure you follow Steve on social media. So have a great night, brother. It was great to talk to you.
Yes, sir. Guys, don't forget to get Ben's beef jerky. He makes the best jerky on the planet. It's so fucking good.
I'm supposed to be the one doing that.